Isonzo is the latest game from M25 and Blackmill games set in World War One. Their previous games were Verdun and Tannenberg, which focused on different theatres of war, but this one focuses on the Italian front, where you will battle among the scenic peaks, rugged valleys and idyllic towns of northern Italy. But should you buy it? Isonzo plays like a traditional shooter. The movement is just really good and fluid. You won't be getting stuck on pieces of terrain, and of course you can do the usual sort of movement things like sprint in, jump in, crouch in, and you can vault over things. And the vaulting system I've had no issues with while playing it. There is no leaning in the game, which is a bit strange considering how sort of deadly the weapons can be, but it's not really too much of an issue. There is a stamina bar, but your stamina does last quite long and it does regen quickly. When your stamina reduces, of course you can't sprint anymore, and it can affect your weapon sway, but like I said, it regens quickly, so just wait a second or two and then you'll be good. So the gunplay in Isonzo, like I said earlier, it is a traditional shooter and it does feel really traditional for the gunplay. You don't have this sort of dead zone area that you get in other realistic shooters like Postscriptum or Squad or Insurgency, where you move your mouse and your gun will move first before your character does or your camera moves. So your gun is pretty much stuck to the center of your screen, which is how most shooters actually play. This means though that you can jump into this game really quickly and just feel pretty much right at home with the movement and gunplay, because you don't have to get used to the sort of dead zone feeling. And it also means that you can snap to targets really quickly when aiming. Just general gunplay feels really satisfying, quick to pick up, and honestly just good. When you are aiming down sights though, the guns do sway quite a bit, and I think this is because that most weapons will pretty much one hit kill someone, but you can hold your breath to steady your aim. The bolt action rifles will generally one hit kill someone to the chest at nearly any range apart from really long range. Your smaller handguns and revolvers, they'll one hit kill someone to the chest at close range, but medium to long it's going to take an extra shot or two. But like I said earlier, the gunplay, well, it is traditional feeling. It's just really satisfying. It's definitely one of those games you can just jump into, have a quick round or two without having to worry about these extra sort of like in-depth gun mechanics or getting used to anything a bit weird. And your ammo management is traditional as well. You don't have separate magazines to worry about. It is just you have X amount of bullets. And yes, using bolt action rifles, you generally do reload one bullet at a time unless you've emptied out a complete clip. There are some weapons where you have to empty all your rounds before you can reload. But when it comes to magazine fed weapons like certain pistols, you can just fire a couple of shots and fully reload a mag, and it just takes out ammo from your like overall pool of ammo, you know, something like Call of Duty or Battlefield does. Also, coming from Hell Let Loose, you know, Hell Let Loose has a fantastic headshot sound, and Isonzo does use like a nice sounding headshot sound as well. It is like the ping sort of noise, but it's a good one. And there's plenty of World War One weapons you can use in Isonzo, ranging from the Carcano, the Beretta Modelo, the Wurndal, Madsen, and the Rast and Gasser M1898. But along with these weapons, you need classes, and in Isonzo there is the Officer, Rifleman, Assault Engineer, Mountaineer, and Marksman. Each have their own sort of unique role to the game, and there can only be a certain amount of players to each role. Like for example, there can only be 2 officers per team, but there can be infinite amount of riflemen, so you will always have a class to play. And you can customize your class as well, so there is a little bit of a progression system in the game. You have your overall sort of account level and a class level. And when you rank these up, you unlock different primary weapons to choose from, and you can also choose a secondary weapon. You can get equipment like grenades or a drinking canister, which makes you immune from suppression. And you can also get a perk, something like ADSing twice as fast, being able to carry an extra grenade, or officers can get something which gives them like an aura which helps to reduce suppression or increase building or sabotaging times. So you can customize your class just a little bit. One of the big things with the game is the officer class, because these officers can call in essentially commander abilities, things like bombing runs, artillery runs, gas strikes, and strafing runs. But to use these, they just don't open up a map and call them in. They get a flare gun, which they can swap out for something else, but they need to shoot that to mark certain locations on the map, go to a call-in station, and then choose which ability to call in. And these call-ins are loud, deadly, and awesome to behold. They can just leave piles of dead bodies everywhere, and you'll just see limbs go flying. But one of my complaints about the game is that sometimes it can feel like a never-ending barrage of officer call-ins. Of course, it's not non-stop, but there can just be a lot of bomb and runs, artillery, and gas going on most of the time. What I believe is a new addition to the series is that the engineer can actually freely build items. Now, there are some preset buildables in the game, such as certain barbed wire locations, heavy machine guns, spawn-in stations, which your entire team can spawn on, and the officer call-in stations. Those are marked on your map and they can build them, but they can also freely place some other items like extra barbed wire or like a sniper shield, for example. This gives the engineer just that extra unique ability to affect the match. When you're in combat, the feeling of running down a trench with artillery going off, with a gas mask on, just mowing down people or bayoneting people, it never gets old. Isonzo is just really satisfying and fun to play. When it comes to the graphics of Isonzo, the game does look really nice. The color palette is quite bright. I mean, just look at the sky. It's really blue. I mean, it does stand out. If you play some other games, you'll notice that the sky just isn't as blue. It's strange that something like that really stands out, but being up in the mountains, it just makes the game have this really sort of unique look to it, which again is strange considering it's mainly just the sky being blue. While I've been playing it, I've had no performance issues. I've been playing on max settings of 1440p, and I've been having no performance hiccups at all. The game also sounds pretty damn good. Some of the weapons don't have like a bassy feel to them, but I'm guessing that's because they're going for a more accurate sound to what the weapons actually sounded like. But putting together the whole soundscape of the game, the music, the characters using their voice lines, the weapon sounds, all the artillery and planes coming in, it gives the game this epic sort of Hollywood feel to it, like it's a big, huge budget World War I film that's just kicking off. And you can have some epic games in Isonzo. There is a video coming out on the channel soon where I had over 150 kills. Now that video won't include every single one of those kills because it would make the video far too long. It was one of these games that did last over an hour, and it was the only game I've had that lasted over an hour, and it was just an intense game throughout the entire session. If you're looking at Isonzo and your main game is something like Hell Let Loose, Squad, Postscriptum, Isonzo is a lot easier to just pick up and play, even if you just want to get in for a quick round, and it is a really nice change of pace from something that is generally slower. So would I recommend picking up Isonzo? Definitely. I think Isonzo could quite comfortably be a main game for you guys to play, or at least a really reliable, fun side game to play. I think Isonzo will have like a long shelf life because it is just simple and easy and fun to play. Now, if you are going to be picking this up on the Epic Store, please consider using my creator code Pterodactyl86. It will really help me out and the channel. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe for more, and thank you for watching.